Are you just entering the dating world again after a divorce? Or perhaps you have been focusing on career and now you are finally ready to jump back in to the dating world in a serious way. Be sure not to miss today's show on Toronto Speaks Relationships. Key tips to navigate the modern dating world in an empowered and healthy way are here for you today. Welcome to Toronto Speaks Relationships. I'm your host, Victoria Lorient-Fabish. I'm a registered psychotherapist, author, and speaker. I've written 2 books. One is called Find Your Self-Culture and Connecting, Rewire Your Relationship Culture. Tonight we are discussing the sometimes challenging yet exciting world of dating after 40. I have the pleasure of welcoming 2 fountains of information for you to navigate the dating world in an empowered and healthy way. Welcome Lesley Edwards, who is a dating coach, CEO and founder of iHeart Dating, and Gail Scott, who is a trust expert, coach, and keynote speaker. I believe that when folks enter the dating world, especially after 40, there is a real need to really know oneself before venturing in. Having clear boundaries and staying grounded and maintaining one's own passions are 3 of my rules that I offer clients right off the bat. Now, what do each of you think is most important when you're entering the dating world after 40, which is, you know, a different experience? Mm-hmm. What do you think is the most important for people to know? Most important thing for people to know?
The biggest thing that I talk about with my clients is if you're single, chances are 100% of your relationships have not worked out the way you wanted them to. Mm-hmm. And so it's really important to not have that dictate how it's going to go, because we then have 40 plus years of disappointment. Right. To not take that.
Not let the past impact your present.
Completely.
You know, clean up the baggage.
Notice where you're expecting disappointment.
Notice where you're expecting. So really work on your negative expectations so that you don't project that onto your dating experience.
Completely. Well, you almost can't have negative expectations when all of your experiences have led you to being single again.
Right.
Right? So it's just normal.
What's a tip in your mind to cleaning up your negative expectations?
Yeah, so 2 questions that I love to ask on dates in my mind is, what's great about this person?
Okay.
It's easy to find what we don't like and what doesn't work and,
right.
and get ready to leave. So what's great about this person, and what about this makes me feel good?
Right. What about this makes me, so focus in on the positive.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Gail, you're the poster child for dating in the modern world after 40 and doing it well. Tell me a little bit about you and your experience, and what's it like now for you?
Well, at the beginning, it was extremely scary.
Of course.
Because I had been married for 25 years. That's
Wow.
a long time to not be dating.
Yeah.
And so the dating world had changed a lot
Right.
since I had been young, and I hadn't actually dated. I'd met my husband in school, and then we were together. Mm. So going out into the dating world was a whole new adventure for me. I had no idea what was expected or what was appropriate, or really how to navigate it. I had to really learn by doing.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had some people that I could call to say, is this normal? Is that normal? Should I do this? Should I go here? Should I do that? And in terms of my own personal safety, understanding, you know, living in a big city, being a single woman, and going out and looking at, you know, where are potential places where I might meet people where I feel comfortable.
Do you find that you're happily dating now after 40? Beautiful and after 40?
Thank you. Yes, now. At the beginning, it was very interesting to meet different people and to really try to understand what their expectations were and to really know what I wanted. So similar to what you were saying, Lesley, in terms of what am I looking for? What do I want? What am I attracted to?
So get to know you.
Absolutely.
Be an expert on you before you get out there.
Yes.
I find that people are sort of not grounded, and they're looking to have their happiness filled by someone that they're dating. And that's usually the road to disappointment, isn't it?
Completely.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Tell me a little bit more about that. What have you heard? What have you seen in terms of all of that in your people? It's like going out there. It's like, I want, them to make me happy, make me fill my cup. Does that work?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, we all have in mind something, and usually we don't know where it came from, and it wasn't actually consciously created by us. It was created by the media, the relationships we saw growing up, the relationships we experienced growing up. So it kind of all imprinted on us this expectation of how it's supposed to go. And so I love what Gail's saying, when you consciously go, because when I was single, I remember I didn't have the luxury of a dating coach. And I remember someone saying to me, well, what is it that you want? Tell me what you want. And I was like, well, you know. She's like, well, no.
No, I don't know.
And I was really like stopped in my tracks. I really had this idea that, and I find a lot of my clients do, that I'll know it when I see it. When the right person comes along, it will just be easy. I'll know it when I see it. And
how does that work for people?
Exactly. So what I say to my clients now, after having learned, is if you don't know what you're looking for and why you're looking for it, how will you know when you found it?
Right. And I think the key thing that people need to understand when they're out there in the dating world after 40 is that it's not going to just be fantastically easy right off the bat. Be willing to try, be willing to, risk a little, like take a walk on the wild side sometimes. Obviously being, you're a trust expert, being safe within yourself, knowing what you need, knowing when to say no, knowing when to say yes, giving yourself permission to say yes and no only when you want to do those. But be bold sometimes. I think that's an important piece for people to not just sort of, it's not going to come to you. You got to kind of go to it. What do you think about this whole thing about electronic dating and dating on sites? I mean, a lot of people that are in their 40s are like, I have people telling me, what's this? I'm not going to date on what is it? What Tinder. Tinder.
We were talking about that earlier, and last year, as part of my business in trying to understand more about trust and what it's like out there in the dating world, because I actually took a hiatus after some years of dating and
said, stop. Freeze frame. Why'd you take a hiatus? I want to know.
Well,
we want to know.
I was kind of fed up of meeting individuals who just didn't meet my criteria.
Great.
And then I began to understand that I didn't meet my criteria.
There you go.
So how was I ever going to attract someone into my life if I didn't really get a hold of what I wanted within myself? And then I believed that if I did that, this person would show up and it would feel right. So I took some time off.
Good for you.
And I realized that dating for dating's sake is actually an activity I didn't want to do. I really wanted to get to know myself better. I had written a list many years before of what I wanted. And in every relationship that I went through, I went back to my list and I said, okay, where did they fall short? Where did I fall short? And generally it was the same issues. And then I would look at it and go, okay, so what do I need to do about my issue around this? Whether it was fear of abandonment or being taken advantage of or not honoring my values.
So mining your emotional world a little bit.
Really looking at where do I give in too easily? Where do I allow others to control me? Where am I being controlling? Where do I have expectations that are unrealistic? All of those things.
Right.
So my foray into Tinder was really interesting because I had come to a point in my dating experience where I knew what I wanted.
Okay.
I knew the kind of guy I was looking for and I was having fun on it.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I was able to easily swipe no.
Fun. You were having fun.
I was having fun with it. Then when I actually started conversing with men, what I began to realize was that there was a lot of talking on the phone. Not a lot of talking on the phone.
Right.
And not a lot of talking in person.
Right.
It was almost like pulling teeth. And, as much as I'm old-fashioned, I kind of wanted them to ask me out.
Okay.
That didn't happen.
Okay.
I met one man in the course of 3 months. I couldn't tell you how many men I spoke to, text with.
Right.
And it was very strange. It was a strange experience for me.
Very foreign, different.
It was very foreign and it was horrible. And I just decided, this is not working for me.
So as a dating coach, what do you want to convey to the listeners and the viewers about, you know, the electronic thing? What's the key thing for you?
The key is at least a third of people online, because it's like a gateway step into dating.
Right.
At least a third of those people are never going to go on a date. They're like Gail in the beginning, just
Wish I
trying it
know
out,
that.
seeing what it's all about, seeing if you're comfortable with it, right? Seeing if you're getting attention and
Right.
getting noticed.
Right.
And so so it's important to set your expectation for it. There's absolutely going to be people out there who don't respond or who aren't interested in going on a date, and it has absolutely nothing to do with you.
Absolutely. Don't take
and-
it personally.
Absolutely.
Right. Go on an adventure.
Yeah.
Don't take
And
it personally.
I'm like Gail. I want to get to the date faster.
Right.
I'm not interested in long, lengthy correspondences. Let's just get together and see if there's a connection.
And that is really important. Don't develop I said that in the don't develop relationships through texting. You're going to basically develop a fantasy about someone, and then you're going to meet them, wasted all that time, and then, oh, this is not who I thought, who I imagined, who I hoped. And so don't do that. Just set the date, set the time of the meeting, and get to know them at a coffee place,
And
live
I
and in
think the
person.
other thing for people is to make that decision fast. If it's going nowhere,
listen to your gut feelings.
It's going nowhere.
Right.
Don't hold on and wait and wait and wait. It's like, oh, you know, I'll love them when they do this. Well, if they're not doing it right now, and they're not talking about doing it, and they're not showing you they're going to do it,
Right.
chances are they're not doing it.
So what you're saying is what I say, which is don't fall in love with someone's potential. You know, you know, it's like it's not the potential. Who are they now? Believe them who they are today in the present moment. Don't get all about their potential. You know, you're not here to fix people. You know, you're here to see who you're bringing to the table, who you are. They're bringing to the table who they are, and let's see if there's a meeting of minds and souls and bodies, etc. The other thing is that I say, and what do you ladies think about this? Is stop emotional dumpster diving, which is, you know, what dumpster diving is. You know, going in, you know, going into the dumpster and basically just settling for garbage. You know, just so you don't want to be alone, and just allowing yourself to just, you know, have affairs, you know, with people that are already in relationships, or put up with people that are constantly mistreating you, or late constantly, or just not really respecting you. So to me, it's stop emotional dumpster diving. That's what I call it. What do you guys think about that?
I would say for me, my personal experience was that I did not understand how to not emotionally dumpster dive for myself.
Okay.
I did not know what my deal breakers were, what my deal makers were. I did not know how I was not being honest with myself and doing the things that I needed to do for myself, and that was showing up in the relationships that I was experiencing.
And that has changed, obviously.
Oh, that is dramatically different.
Amazing.
Now. Amazingly different. And
did you find that you attracted different kinds of people when you changed internally?
absolutely. In fact, I used to date men who were never on time and never showed up and said they were coming and they didn't, and all of those things. And then I realized I was doing that to myself. I'd make promises with myself, and then I'd break them.
Break them.
So as soon as I stopped doing that and set boundaries with these people, they disappeared. And then all of a sudden, after a few years, I realized that I was only seeing people who were on time, calling me ahead, making plans. I thought, oh, this has really changed.
Yeah.
No, I had really changed.
You had really changed.
I set the boundary.
You were basically setting up who you are, and that energy, that vibration, let's say, because we're all vibratory essences, we're vibratory, that went out, and then like a beacon, it seeked out, you know, similar energies. So that, I'm so glad that happened. And is that the kind of thing you talk to your clients about?
Yeah, I would say I had the exact same experience as Gail, that I was completely oblivious to what I was that I was doing that, settling for and totally selling out on what I really wanted, and just accepting all these unavailable guys because I thought, well, you know, it's kind of just basically whoever showed up. That's what I was like, okay, great, let's do this. And so there was something great in what you said. It's going to come back to me. But
the reality is that if we ourselves, if the person who's entering the dating world is not clear and at peace with yourself, grounded. I really want people to do grounding exercises. Allow yourself to before you go on a date, breathe, relax, ground yourself, positive affirmations. I love it when people say, I am beautiful, and everyone thinks I'm beautiful. I think that, say it together, I am beautiful.
I am beautiful.
And everyone thinks I'm beautiful. And that's a vibration you want to enter the dating world or the dating experience
I really think also, Victoria, you have to really know what is acceptable to you and what is not.
Right, boundaries.
Because if you go on a date with someone and something happens and you're not sure about whether that's okay with you or not, you have to know when to get out. You have to know when to say, okay, we're done.
So is that, would you say, a gut feeling thing, or is that a calculated set of pieces of information that you've already discussed with yourself?
I'd say it was both.
Okay.
Basically, when something happens that goes completely against your own morals and values, you will feel it in your body. Don't ignore that.
Don't ignore your intuition.
Do not ignore it, and know what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. And sometimes it's tough. Sometimes you've met someone and something happens and you just say after 2 dates, you're a really nice person, but this is just not working for me.
So what I'm hearing also is don't come from a desperate place. The truth is that, there are plenty of fish in the sea. There are plenty of guys and gals and folks out there. So trust that. Come from a trust expert, come from a place of trust that people are always saying, oh, it's so terrible out there and everybody's so terrible out there and everyone's so bad out there. I'm like, but I stop them and I go, look at what you're affirming. You're affirming such a negative perspective, and clearly that's what you're going to attract. That's what's going to come to you.
It's just what you're going to see, because that's the filter that you're now looking through the world is like, oh, there's all these awful people, so many dangerous things to look out for.
Right.
That's what your brain is then on high alert for.
Right. Versus,
oh, I want someone loving and amazing who thinks I'm completely beautiful, and then that's what you will see and find. It completely is a match for what you observe in the world.
So I talk about this notion of you said it too, write a list.
Right.
Write a list, write it down, decide what it is that's important to you. And I'm not talking about, hair color and
real valuable things that are long-standing desires for you within a relationship. And the other thing that I've heard other people say is, I can't meet anyone in a bar.
All the time I hear that.
How many of us over 40 actually go to a bar looking for someone? Figure out what you love to do.
Right.
And go out and do it. And you will find people who also love to do that. I met my now partner at an event that we both were totally into.
Interesting.
So go to those things and go by yourself.
Yeah.
I have been to so many things by myself, and if I hadn't, I wouldn't have gone out.
Yeah.
And that's not who I am. So you have to be willing to do that.
What I'm hearing also is, and something I tell people is, having passion, having interest, having hobbies, having things you love to do is very attractive to other people. You know what I mean? Totally. When there is a person who's like, I'll just do what they do. They like tennis, I like tennis. They like chess, I like chess. They like working out, no, that doesn't work. Keep your own rhythm. Even when you do meet someone, you start dating someone and you're really excited. I talk about don't get fooled by the love drug, that oxytocin, which makes you want to nest much faster than you should. and the physical touch brings on that oxytocin chemical and basically makes you want to make decisions that are not excellent for you, like giving up on your own hobbies, your own passions, your own wants, your own needs. So it's very important. Don't give up on your hobbies. People love that. People get excited and passionate about you when you are excited and passionate about the things you love to do. And what do you think about this, ladies? Having sex, or I know it's a spicy topic, but too much touching too soon in the game. What get to know them emotionally before too much of the physical stuff. Even though the physical stuff is important, what do you think, as we're sort of heading toward the wrap up here? What do you think about that, dating coach?
So when I trained with John Gray, he was very serious about commitment before intimacy, and I was like, in today's world, come on.
Yeah.
And I'm converted.
Okay.
But my
Interesting.
definition of commitment is a little bit different. So we want to make sure, say you and I are going on a date, that we're committed to the same things. You and I can both be committed to adventure, connection.
We're not talking commitment to marriage. We're talking commitment to what?
Like what's important to you? What are your values? What are you looking for here? And if we're looking for adventure, safety, having a good time, we could totally have a one-night stand, and it fulfills on both of that for us.
And you're committed to those aspects.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
However, what I'm really committed to is a long-term, committed, loving relationship, and you're committed to adventure and safety, and you know, then it doesn't actually match.
Right.
So what I say is have your commitments aligned.
Ah, yes.
Right. And so if you're both looking for a long-term committed, then great. Be in that place before you go to the intimacy.
Okay.
It just settles all of those crazy, like you said, hormone shifts that happen that have you attach on more. If you know you're someone who attaches, then you want to slow down that process as much as possible.
Slow that down. What do you think about that?
I agree with Lesley.
Okay.
I think it's important to slow it down. I think it's important to know yourself really well. If you get into bed with someone and that starts off this feeling that, oh, there's something more to this, maybe there's not. Maybe it really just is sex. That's all it is. Be safe. Know what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and honor yourself at every step of the game. And even if you get into bed with someone, if you decide, you know, I don't want to go ahead with this, have the strength to say, I'm done. I'm out. I don't want to do this.
Lean out.
Lean out. Just be willing to stop
to
at any stage of the game and say, I'm done.
Okay. And so lean out, in other words, have the courage to lean out and be true to yourself, you know, really honoring yourself. And what do you think of my 5 to 7 date rule?
I have a 10.
10-date rule. I started with a 10-date rule in fairness.
Right.
People balked and said, what? I'm like, okay, 5 to 7 at least, because what do you think?
I say at
10.
least,
what is your thought?
At least 5 to 7 because...
Great. And yours?
I would honestly say until you're on the same page.
Okay, don't even set a rule, but get on the same page.
I'm not as much about rules, but I like that as guidelines for people. So I would also say if you're not the kind of person who knows you can stop things.
That's right.
Because
set a rule.
they get to a certain place and things are, then just don't get into the bed.
That's right.
Don't get into the living room.
Right.
Don't get into the apartment.
Don't even get into the house.
Exactly.
So that just sets up boundaries for yourself. If you feel like, I don't know, because I was someone who just, well, it's expected and I guess it should.
And when someone's saying, oh, well, it's expected, I'm going to tell you right now, that's a red flag. Because you're not listening to your own boundary. So I think it's incredibly important. Listen to your own boundary. Don't compromise your own values for someone else's, your own set of what's right and wrong for you for someone else. And also have, I believe, the courage to lean out of someone who is in any way, you know, not right for you, pressuring you, not honoring you, you know. And it's not about being, you know, difficult. It's about people say, oh, but isn't that me being difficult? No, that's you being honoring of yourself and loving yourself.
Well, that's the tough thing to do.
Sex.
Especially about sex.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the tough conversation. And believe me, if you're going to be in a relationship with someone, there's going to be tough conversations. You have to know how to navigate those.
Right.
And the other side of the coin is, if you want to go out and have fun and be with people, be safe. Know what you're doing, take responsibility for your action, and be safe.
I like be safe, take responsibility for your action. Also, don't engage in, you know, drinking and stuff that's going to take you out initially, especially. You have to know the lay of the land when you're in that dating experience. I think that the dating experience is one that needs to be undertaken as seriously, but with a lot of fun, but as seriously as, you know, I say to people, do it like it's your job, you know, study it, you know, do the due diligence like it's your job. Don't just go out there haphazardly, not grounded, just, I don't know, I'm just going out. Honestly, if you want to do that, try that out, but often it doesn't work. It's a needle in a haystack, that working. You know, get real about what's right and important for you. But the other thing is, understand that you matter, you're valuable. And so you have to treat yourself in that special way.
I think that people over the age of 40
have
begun to realize that, hey, you know, it's important that I do what works for me. It's important that I honor me. It's important that I know what I like and what I don't like. And you're willing to have the conversation with someone to ask for those things that you need or want, or walk away if it's not working. And I think when people are more mature, they're more ready to do that.
I think that sometimes maturity can bring on the baggage of pain. You know, we've experienced pain because we're older, so we experience pain. But we also have that other piece, which is, well, we've experienced pain, so we've learned some good lessons. And, you know, what we said earlier, don't let the pain be the thing you lead with. Go into therapy or coaching or something so that you can heal that aspect of yourself. And I say to people, don't let the baggage come with you, but learn from the baggage. Yes. Learn from the lessons. Have the courage to look back and go, what is it that those experiences have taught me?
Those patterns
and do that.
Those patterns are going to recur.
Right. Over and over and over.
I've done tons of work, and my patterns still recur.
Right.
And they're a lot less.
Right.
And now I'm aware of them. I know the things that trigger me, so I can recognize it, and I have the tools to be able to have the conversation in a way where I take responsibility and I'm not pointing the finger at somebody else.
We're at 2 minutes, and I want to ask you both, what's one thing that you each think is extremely important? I know you're right on the spot right now, but the most important thing for someone who's deciding, I'm now back on the dating scene after 40, either it's a divorce or I've been too focused on my career. Give me one, give me one.
Take responsibility for what you bring to the relationship, good or bad.
Okay.
And in every dating experience, honor yourself always at every step of the game.
I like honor yourself at every step of the game. What do you got for us?
I love that. I'm going to say, consider that you are wrong about your type.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So consider that you're wrong about your type, and be open to your ideal person showing up in a completely different package than you have up here. Because that's where the magic is.
That is so great. I love that. And I would say that for me, it's pay attention to your inner running commentary. What are you saying to yourself on the inside as you're walking to that date, as you're parking the car? What are you saying to yourself? And, because what you're saying to yourself impacts absolutely your energy, your vibration, how you relate to that person. So walk out the door with words like, I am beautiful and everyone thinks I'm beautiful, I'm amazing, I matter, I am valuable, and life is, to be lived to the fullest, but I honor myself majorly through that journey. I think that's I think that's an important thing. And as we hit the end of this program today, I would say that I want to say to both of you, thank you so much. Number one, super courage. You have such courage. I mean, yeah, you're out there, and congratulations, because Lesley just got married. Isn't that amazing? That's awesome. So that's all the time we have today. Thank you to our viewers at home for your calls and questions and comments. And thank you, Lesley Edwards and Gail Scott, helping Torontonians navigate dating in the modern world after 40. Remember to stay grounded, value yourself, and remember, stop all emotional dumpster diving now.